Welcome into another episode of the Sunbelt Syndicate. I am Dominic Crusetto, and today we will be taking a look at the Southern Miss Golden Eagles moving into the Sunbelt from Conference USA. Over the last three seasons, 2019 they had a record of 7-6, 2020 they had a record of 3-7, and in 2021 they had a record of 3-9. So not much to note as far as big-time victories or victories over ranked opponents. They did, however, in 2019 make a bowl game, so they come away with that with an 0-1 bowl record. This year, I think the offense can thrive if they find their quarterback and he can really emerge early on. I know that a lot of people think that Ty Keys had some good moments last year and should be able to be their guy, but we'll wait and see if that can happen. They cannot continue to run and throw running backs out there to play the quarterback position. I know it worked for a little while, but as far as a consistent weapon, you can't do that. You have to have those guys be in the positions they need to be in and be able to have some type of consistent passing game to have success in this league and basically in college football overall. I think the offense struggles if that O-line doesn't improve. They really got to improve. I think they will. They've got some transfer help there, but obviously they will struggle if they don't. We know how that 3-9 season went last year. It was a pretty big struggle. Even their wins weren't against real quality opponents, so they really need to step up there. Otherwise, they will struggle again this season. I think the defense can thrive if the linebacker core stays as strong as it's been recently. I don't think it's going to be tops in the Sun Belt or anything crazy, but I do think that they have a pretty good linebacking core overall. Historically, they've had good linebackers in their program, so it's usually a pretty good position of strength for them. Defensively, I think they struggle with the play of the DB unit. If it doesn't improve, I think some transfer help, again, just like the O-line, it should benefit them, but we'll have to wait and see how it all adds up in the end. They have to come away with some better, more consistent play from that secondary in order to stop some of these Sun Belt offenses from really opening up on them. And I think they get some luck in their matchups this year. They don't have a really strong out-of-conference or really even an in-conference slate. So they can have a good amount of games with some good chances to win there. The special teams, they haven't fared well here since 2019, but you can't get much worse than the 106 ranking that they had coming out of last year. I expect kind of a jump up here just by default, really. I mean, they've had some other finishes that were more towards the middle of college football overall in the rankings. I would hope that for their program they can get back to some of that. I think they'll need a big jump in the return game in order for that to happen. But hopefully for them, they can establish something like that for this season. Jumping into the schedule, September 3rd, they bring in Liberty to open up the season. I think Liberty is a little bit stronger of a program overall right now, so I am chalking that one up as a loss to start the year out. And then they travel down to Miami, and we all know Miami, almost like Notre Dame, it seems like this team's always overrated. They always think they have the best athletes and the best recruits, but it doesn't ever seem to come to fruition. But I do think they are still a stronger program overall with a little bit more talent than the Southern Miss Golden Eagles at this point. But I do have them rebounding in two straight games. They rebound well against Northwestern State. They should really get the offense going there, and their defense should collect some good statistics coming out of that one. Then they travel to Tulane, and this one won't be an easy matchup, but their head coach did come from there, so he's making a return trip, and I think he's going to want to win that one. His guys are going to want to win that one for him, so I see them coming away with a W in that one. The following week, they have a bye, and then they go down to Troy, Alabama to match up with them. I think Troy's, again, moving over from the East. If you listen to that preview, I think overall they're going to be a stronger team in the West because they were kind of a middle-of-the-road team in the East, but the East has been stronger as of late. I think Troy is the better program right now, and they should win that one. So then they have Arkansas State coming into town after that. Arkansas State can't lose them all, right? So I actually have them losing to Arkansas State. I think the quarterback and wide receiver tandem over there in Arkansas State should be a little bit better. Tavelis Hunt is one of their better players, and I think he may have a good game, as we talked about the secondary being a possible weak spot for Southern Miss in this one. Then they travel down to Texas State. Again, just like Arkansas State, you can't think Texas State's going to lose them all. coming off a 3-9 season for Southern Miss, still in a rebuild. I think Texas State may be just a step above where Southern Miss is at this point. So I'm going to have Texas State walking away with the victory on that one. And then hosting Louisiana on a Thursday night. Louisiana, one of the best teams in the West the past many years, even though with what they've lost and their new coach as well, I think they should be better prepared and come away with a victory in that one. Georgia State, following week, comes to town. Again, listening to previews from previous teams, I think Georgia State's one of the stronger teams in the East and a surprise team, and I don't see them losing a game to Southern Miss this season. Then they travel on the road to Coastal Carolina. Again, another team in the East that's been strong recently and over the past few years. I don't see them winning that one, so I have Coastal with the W there, Southern Miss with another loss. And then a matchup with South Alabama. Again, South Alabama's thought to be coming along a little bit more this season than they have in the past. I don't know quite if they'll have the season some are hoping for, but I do think they're a good team and a better team than Southern Miss. So I have Southern Miss dropping that one as well. But I do have them ending the season with a win over at ULM. So another disappointing season for the Southern Miss Eagles, but they do have some matchups and some fan bases that are hopefully more fun and interactive than what they saw out there in Conference USA. I have them finishing with a regular season record of exactly what they finished at last year, which is 3-9. For their sake, I hope it's better than that, but I just don't see a lot of strength at enough positions at this point to think too much more of how they're going to finish up the season. I do expect Frank Gore Jr. to be pretty good again, but we'll see how well that holds up in the end. Again, follow me all on Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, every social media you can think of. I've pretty much tried to go out there and grab. Appreciate the listen, and we'll catch you next time.